Hi friends, welcome back to this week's episode of AMA Friday with Amy Miller, recruiting in yoga pants. So this week, let's talk endorsements. Let's talk endorsements, recommendations, those fun little areas of LinkedIn where you can get people to say nice things about you, hopefully, right? That's the goal. And how do recruiters view those? Are they valuable? Are they not? Should you ask for them? Do they matter? Things like that. So endorsements are when you have a skill listed or someone kind of nominates a skill for you that they think you're really great at. I think my top three are like recruiting, sourcing, and interviewing or something. I can't remember. They're very related to my industry, obviously. And of course, you can only have 50, right? So you can actually pick 50 skills or someone can pick a skill for you. That's another way to get endorsed. And then recommendations, of course, are actual like paragraphs or a statement that somebody has made specifically about you and why you're great. And it's usually like somebody can say, I worked with Amy at this company, I was senior to her, and then there's some context, the actual body of the endorsement maybe says, yeah, I was Amy's boss and she showed up on time. They probably wouldn't say that. I am not always super punctual. So if you ever see that endorsement or recommendation, that might be fake, fake news. Sorry. So anyway, so those are the two things we're talking about here, right? So your recommendations and your endorsements. Endorsements, I think, are fine. Obviously the skills section is something that some recruiters will search. So it's good, if you're a software engineer, to see that a bunch of people think you're good at C#, for example. Maybe I think it's fine. It's not, for me personally, it's not deal breaking. If it is there, great. If it's not there, whatever. I'm not going to like scroll past it because you didn't get enough people to say enough nice things about you. But I think that's also coming from a perspective of working with engineers. And so I want to be really, really clear that your personal mileage is going to vary greatly depending on the industry that you're in, depending on the importance of your LinkedIn presence and presentation. A more like sales or marketing or PR type of role, that may be more important. I don't know. I work with engineers. I don't care. So from a recruiting point of view, I'm just happy if you have a LinkedIn profile. Like my bar is low, okay, as far as what I am looking for on LinkedIn. So I think it's really important, like most things I say on this channel, to unpack this with people in your industry. If you're talking to a recruiter who recruits what you do and they're saying, oh yeah, that's really important, go ask 3 more. And so again, kind of build that trend line, right? You got one data point from one recruiter, maybe that's me saying they don't matter, but if 5 other recruiters are saying, actually, they're very important and here's why, assuming that they are experts in your industry and have the connections in your industry and are speaking from that industry perspective, listen to them, not to me. All right. So there's my big giant caveat for this week. So that's endorsements. I think they're fine. I mean, if anything, it maybe kind of feeds the algorithm a bit. Maybe you show up higher in a search or something. That's probably an argument for, again, loosely stated, because I don't know. But I know for me, I just don't really look at them. It's not that important from my perspective. Recommendations. This is the other part that probably is more important. I personally think recommendations carry more weight when they're done correctly. I get asked, not daily. That would be too far. I can't say daily. Definitely multiple times a week to write a recommendation for someone. This is a request I get quite often. Friends, 99.99% of the people asking me to write them a recommendation, I have never interacted with. I do not write those recommendations. I don't know you. I wouldn't know what to say. This is very important to me. Okay, I want to share fun little tip, fun little sidebar, fun fact. I have a handful of recommendations. I'm super grateful for every single one of them. That people have said some very nice things about me. But the reason that they matter to me and the reason why I am so grateful for each one of those recommendations is because I never asked for a single one. Ever. The closest I may have come to asking for a recommendation is if somebody asked me for a recommendation and I wrote one and said, hey, here you go. It'd be really great if you wrote something for me too. That's it. That's as close as I'll get to asking for a recommendation. So, haven't gotten a recommendation for a long time. Probably because I don't ask for them. I don't know. But to me, in order for it to feel organic and honest and frankly deserved, I think it should be given without expectation or without being requested. Like, again, this is me. I'm taking off my recruiter hat for a minute. I'm taking off my, professional hat, and I'm just talking to one person to another. To me, if it's not kind of if it's not organic, if it's not done because you genuinely feel like I did something positive for you, then it's not real. I just That's just me. I'm Again, you may feel completely differently about this. I don't know, but I don't want it if I have to ask for it. I don't want it if I have to write it for you. Like, if you had a good experience with me and you want to say something nice to me, I love that. Thank you. I've had people say nice things about me as a result of this channel, as a result of like career coaching stuff. That's wonderful. It feels really great. I don't expect it and I'm not going to ask for it. So, do recruiters look at recommendations? So this is the point, right? Now that I've kind of done my little diatribe, here's the point I'm trying to get at. I will read recommendations and I will basically ignore the ones that are clearly fluff. The ones that speak to, I'm recommending Bob because Bob did this specific thing and I had this specific outcome because, and Bob is great for these reasons. Okay, I like that. That's a good thing. A peer, a colleague, a boss, a client, a partner, whatever. There's real value in those stories, in those referrals, so to speak, right? The ones that are like, oh, Bob's really nice and I really like him and you should hire him. Why? That doesn't tell me anything. There's no context of it. There's nothing that I'm not going to hold it against you. I am not going to be like, oh, that recommendation's stupid, therefore I'm not going to call Bob. Not at all. Not at all. It just becomes a non-issue for me personally. That's my stance on it. Like, I will not be mad that you got it. I will not hold it against you for having fluffy recommendations. They're just not going to add any value. It's not going to make me call you if I wasn't going to call you anyway. That's it. Now, on the other hand, if I'm maybe on the fence and maybe the profile is a little bare or I'm not seeing a ton of context or I'm not seeing a ton of kind of explanation about somebody's work or whatever, and I'm curious and like, gosh, I wonder if they did work on something like this, or I wonder if they do have that background. If that's spoken about in the recommendations, that might tip me over. That might be enough for me to go, let me reach out to this person and learn more. Let me see if I can unpack this a little bit and get the data that my hiring manager is going to want. That's when it becomes valuable, right? Is it telling me something tangible, measurable? It's like achievements on your resume. Is this adding to the context that tells the recruiter, the hiring manager, the interviewers, whoever, that this person is bringing something valuable to the table? That's what I'm going for, okay? So how do I get recommendations? You absolutely can ask. I don't want you to think I'm suggesting you shouldn't ask for recommendations. I'm perfectly fine if you do, if that's comfortable for you. You absolutely can. If I were an active job seeker, I probably would ask for some. I would probably want, if I'm laid off, I'm going to ask my boss, hey, we left on good terms here. This was a business decision that, negatively impacted me and it sucks, but can you go write a nice recommendation about me? Can you specifically say things about I'm a good recruiter because, or I accomplished this or the other? You bet I'm going to ask. Peers, colleagues, partners, again, you can ask. You can also give recommendations. So a lot of the recommendations I've received, as I mentioned, are because somebody asked me to write one for them. And when you input that, then a message pops up that says, do you want to write one for the other person? So LinkedIn kind of, at least last I remember seeing this, been a while, but LinkedIn actually will prompt you to give a recommendation to the person you just got one from. So I have no issue with that. I would just say, again, kind of like with the endorsements, just make sure that they're relevant. And specifically for the recommendations, make sure that there is context. So if you're writing a recommendation for someone, please try to be thoughtful and clear and specific into what you think is great about that person or what they did that was so beneficial. And if you are writing it, again, through the same lens, right? What do you want the person reading it to know about your friend that you're saying nice things about? Okay, so that's my recruiter point of view. I would love to hear from other recruiters on this topic. I think this is one where you're going to get a lot of different opinions, and that's okay. There is room for all of us in this crazy job search land. So if you find recommendations or endorsements helpful, tell me why. Explain it to us down below in the comments. Let's keep the conversation going. And let's see if we can all just do a little bit better at saying nice things about each other. Wouldn't that be a sight to see on the internet? All right, y'all. Hope that helps, and we will see you next week.